Why do the ones you care about the most often seem to care the least? Why does your kindness go unnoticed, your loyalty unappreciated, and your effort misunderstood? You give her everything. Your time, your attention, your honesty. And still, she pulls away. She loses interest. She looks past you. And in return? Silence. Distance. Confusion. You thought being nice meant being respected. You believed being available, attentive, and gentle would keep her close. But now you're starting to feel it. That quiet frustration in your chest. That sense that something is off. That you're being drained and slowly forgotten. Let's bring this closer to home. Picture this. You text her good morning every single day. She doesn't reply half the time. You always ask her how her day was. She never asks about yours. You're always planning to see her, to surprise her, to make her feel special. But deep down, you know, you're chasing someone who wouldn't even look back if you stopped. Welcome to Book Boost. This is where we leave behind the illusions and step into the ancient armor of wisdom. This channel isn't for those who wish to remain the same. It's for those ready to rise from who they were into who they were meant to become. So if you're ready to stop seeking validation and start building inner power, like, comment, share, and subscribe right now. Let us grow in silence and strength together. Please drop down your one thought on believe in yourself in the comments. Your words might be the reason someone else doesn't give up today. Because here's what you need to understand. Being nice is not the same as being good. Being good requires strength, boundaries, and a spine made of discipline. Niceness, on the other hand, is often just fear dressed as kindness. Fear of being rejected. Fear of being alone. Fear of being seen as too harsh. But Stoic wisdom doesn't bend to fear. It teaches us to live by virtue, not approval. The Stoics never chased affection, they cultivated value. They didn't beg to be seen, they lived in a way that couldn't be ignored. Epictetus said it best, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. Stop asking her to stay. Start asking yourself to rise. Virtue over validation, what Stoics truly seek in love and life. There is a reason why the world seems to spin differently for men who do not seek approval. A calmness surrounds them. A steady, silent energy. These men are not chasing. They are not begging. They are not bending over backwards to prove they are worthy. They do not live for someone's attention. They live for something far greater, virtue. You see, we were never meant to lose ourselves in others. Especially not in the hope that someone will love us more if we sacrifice who we are. Yet that is what many of us do, quietly, every single day. We shape our words to please. We act softer, not from strength, but from fear. We avoid truth, not because it is wrong, but because we think it might make someone leave. And in that moment, without even noticing, we abandon ourselves. The Stoics warned against this long ago. They knew that when you place your happiness in another person's hands, you have already lost. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own." That is the sickness. To forget your own mind, your own values, just to be liked. But it is not love to lose yourself. And it is not strength to keep giving to someone who doesn't value your presence. A Stoic does not become cruel. He does not become arrogant or heartless. He becomes firm. He becomes someone who knows what he stands for. He becomes someone who will not betray himself just to gain approval from another. So when a man continues to please a woman who gives him nothing in return, he is not being kind. He is being afraid. Afraid that walking away means losing something. But here's the truth no one tells you. What you are afraid to lose might be the very thing that's holding you back from becoming who you truly are. Think about that for a moment. Imagine a man who is constantly trying to keep someone happy. He says what she wants to hear. He changes his schedule to fit hers. He avoids any topic that might upset her. And all the while, a quiet voice in his chest keeps asking, "But what about me?" That man may seem polite on the surface, but inside he is suffering. Because he is being ruled, not by love, but by fear of rejection. The Stoic man does not serve that fear. He serves virtue. He asks himself one question in every situation. What is the right thing to do according to nature and reason? Not what will make her stay, not what will make her like me, but what aligns with truth, with discipline, with purpose. And in doing that, he becomes powerful. Not because others clap for him, but because he no longer needs them to. When you stop living for her approval, you begin to notice things. You begin to realize how often you used to lie to yourself. How often you acted out of weakness and not principle. And slowly, you begin to change. Not for her. Not for anyone else. But because the fire inside you refuses to die. Women are not attracted to nice men because nice often means unrooted, unstable, and unsure. But strength, silence, self-control, those things cannot be faked. They're earned, and they're felt. This is not about being cold. This is about being centered. There is a kind of man who does not chase love. He builds himself. He builds his craft. He builds his soul. He becomes the kind of person that others want to stay close to, not because he asks them to, but because he walks with dignity. You cannot fake that kind of strength. And when you have it, you will never again feel the need to beg for affection. That's why Stoicism is not just philosophy. It's a path, a way of being. When Seneca said, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials," he wasn't just talking about hardship. He was speaking of the fire it takes to remain yourself, even when the world tries to make you bend. So what should you do instead of being nice to win her over? Be kind, but firm. Be respectful, but direct. Speak truth, even when it's hard. Respect her, but respect yourself more. And if she doesn't see your value, you do not need to explain it. You simply walk away with calmness. That calm is the highest form of power. It tells the world you are not afraid to be alone, because you are never alone. You walk with reason, with clarity, with your soul intact. Many will never understand this way, but those who do will never go back to their old ways. A Stoic man knows that validation from others is a fleeting shadow. What matters is who you are when no one claps, when no one stays, when no one agrees. Do you still choose virtue? Do you still remain just, honest, disciplined? That is where your power lives. That is where attraction begins, not with the noise you make trying to be liked, but in the silence you keep while standing tall. Let others chase. Let others prove. Let others break themselves to be seen. You remain whole. Mastering the inner citadel, building a presence that commands respect. There is a kind of power that does not raise its voice. It does not beg. It does not chase. It simply is. This is the power of the man who has mastered himself. His presence speaks for him. His silence has weight. His eyes say more than 1,000 compliments ever could. And he did not get there by accident. He built it, slowly and quietly, by choosing to live above his impulses. To truly gain respect, not just from women, but from the world, you must become someone who no longer needs it to feel whole. Because the man who depends on external validation will forever be a prisoner to it. He becomes soft. He becomes predictable. He bends to the moods and opinions of others. And over time, he loses the one thing that makes him magnetic, his groundedness. The Stoics called this place of groundedness the inner citadel. It is the mental fortress where no insult can shake you, no silence can scare you, and no rejection can touch your worth. It is the mind trained to say, "I am not what you think of me. I am what I choose to be, no matter what you think." Now let us be honest. In the beginning, you will feel resistance. You will feel the need to respond to every cold message. You will feel the urge to explain yourself, to prove your good intentions, to win her approval. But this urge is your test. You must not give in to it. Because every time you try to prove your worth, you're also showing that you doubt it. Control begins with self-awareness. Notice your thoughts. Observe how quickly they rush to please, to apologize, to fix. Ask yourself, why am I afraid to be misunderstood? Why do I want her to see me in a certain way? The Stoic man does not fight to be seen. He focuses on being right with himself, even in the dark. When a man builds this kind of foundation within, people around him feel it. He doesn't need to say much. He doesn't need to convince anyone of his value. Because he knows who he is. He walks into a room, and people straighten their backs. Not out of fear, but because his discipline silently commands respect. And what happens when you act from this inner strength? You stop chasing conversations. You stop feeling the need to explain your silence. You start valuing your energy, your time, your direction. She notices. They all do. Not because you became louder, but because you became untouchable. You moved from being emotionally available to emotionally stable. Let's be clear, this is not about becoming emotionless. It's about mastering your emotions so that they don't master you. It's about no longer allowing your mood to be decided by her replies, her interest, or her attention. If she texts back, fine. If she doesn't, also fine. Because your peace is not something you gamble anymore. This doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you care in a different way. You care with boundaries. You give without expecting. You listen without losing yourself. You love without becoming dependent. And in doing so, you teach others how to treat you, not with pity, but with honor. Marcus Aurelius, a man who ruled an empire and yet bowed to no one's opinion, once wrote, "The tranquility that comes when you stop caring what they say, or think, or do. Only what you do. That is your target. Tranquility. A presence so firm that even in chaos, you remain unmoved. You must begin seeing your attention as gold. Precious. Rare. Not to be handed out in desperation. Let her earn it. Let the world earn it. Because when you value yourself, others will follow. But if you give yourself away for free, you teach people to treat you like you're cheap. So take your energy back. Reclaim your time. Focus on your mission. Read. Train. Build. Create. Grow. The man who is too busy becoming cannot be broken by silence or disinterest. His focus is sacred. His journey is higher. This is the man women feel drawn to, even if they can't explain why. He's not the one constantly around, constantly checking in, constantly proving his loyalty. He's the one who is scarce, but not because he plays games. Because he plays life on a higher level. And she either matches that level or fades away quietly. And that is not loss. That is clarity. You will not reach this place overnight. But every time you resist the urge to beg, to explain, to overgive, you get closer. Every time you sit with your discomfort instead of acting from it, you grow stronger. And every time you choose discipline over impulse, you lay another stone in your inner citadel. You are not here to impress. You are here to express strength, peace, and purpose. You are not here to win her attention. You are here to master yourself so deeply that you no longer seek it. The man who is full within does not fear emptiness around him. Let that be your power. Let that be your path. Because in the end, only the man who rules himself can truly lead others. Only the man who builds from within will never fear anything falling apart. You don't need to be loud to be respected. You need to be real, unmoved, calm in the fire, like stone in the storm. This is how you earn respect without saying a word. There is a power in silence that most men never learn. It is not loud. It does not shout. It does not demand attention. But it draws people in, especially women, not by force, but by the quiet confidence that comes from knowing oneself deeply. This is the power of the Stoic man, the quiet flame that burns steadily, without flicker or fear. When you stop trying so hard to be liked, you begin to notice something strange. The world begins to notice you. Women feel it too. They sense when a man carries himself without the need for constant approval. It is magnetic. Because this strength is not about what you say or do. It is about who you are and how you control your inner world. Most men think attraction comes from flashy words or grand gestures. They believe they must impress or please. The truth is far simpler. True attraction comes from peace within. When you master your emotions, you are free. Free from desperation. Free from fear. Free from the endless chase. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This means that the challenges and hardships you face are not barriers. They are the path itself. When you accept your struggles and do not run from discomfort, you build an unshakable presence. Women sense this presence. They sense when a man does not need them to feel whole. When you are complete on your own, you offer something rare, respect for yourself and others. This respect cannot be faked. It is earned through daily practice and self-control. It is important to understand that this does not mean becoming cold or distant. It means being steady, being calm, being a man who listens more than he speaks, a man who acts thoughtfully rather than reacting impulsively. Many lose themselves trying to be nice. They think being agreeable will keep love alive. But love built on need is fragile. Love built on strength endures. The Stoic man knows this. He does not chase validation. He builds value in silence. He acts with purpose, not out of fear. This is why the Stoic man attracts without effort. He does not need to win her attention. It comes naturally because he is aligned with his own nature. He values himself first. This is the foundation of all meaningful connections. Remember, attraction is not about controlling others. It is about mastering yourself. When you become the master of your emotions, your desires, and your actions, you become irresistible, not because you try to be, but because you simply are. Epictetus said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." This simple advice holds the key. Decide who you want to be. A man who is calm in chaos. A man who faces life's storms without losing his center. Then, do the work every day to live like that. This work is not easy. It requires courage. It requires discipline. It means choosing your own peace over the temporary comfort of pleasing others. It means saying no to what weakens you, even if it hurts. Women respect strength, but not the strength that fights or dominates. They respect the strength that stands firm in its own truth. The strength that holds boundaries kindly but firmly. The strength that does not crumble when ignored or rejected. When you build this strength inside, you no longer waste time on games or pretending. You speak and act from honesty. You do not fear silence or solitude, because you are never truly alone. You have yourself. This confidence, this quiet flame, shines without noise. It calls others to come close not because it demands, but because it invites. People, including women, are drawn to a man who walks with this steady light. It is important to note, this is not about manipulation or strategy. It is about character. A man who has built character through struggle, reflection, and self-control will naturally attract those worthy of his presence. In the end, attraction is not something you do. It is something you become. The Stoic path teaches us that the journey inward creates the strongest outward presence. So, be patient with yourself. Embrace the discomfort that growth brings. Understand that every challenge you overcome adds fuel to your quiet flame. Others will notice. Women will notice. Not because you demand their attention, but because you offer something far more valuable, a man who owns himself fully. This is the power of the Stoic man, a power born not from words or actions alone, but from the deep mastery of self. The power that attracts not by trying, but by being.